The drama surrounding Team USA basketball has erupted into one of the most jaw-dropping turning points the sport has seen in years, and the shockwaves are still spreading. What began as a quiet shift behind the scenes has turned into a full-scale reckoning, reshaping the future of women's basketball in a way that few could have predicted. At the center of this storm is the stunning decision that left a Wilson on the outside looking in while the program pivots toward a new era led by Caitlyn Clark. For a player once convinced she held the keys to the league's identity, the sudden realization that the sport is moving forward without her has created a dramatic fall that even her loudest supporters couldn't have seen coming. And as Caitlyn Clark prepares for her return from injury, the contrast between her rising influence and Wilson's unraveling presence has become impossible to ignore. Behind closed doors at USA Basketball headquarters, officials had been paying attention to more than shooting percentages and defensive schemes. They were watching the cultural and psychological landscape of the sport shift in real time, and they recognized that the face of women's basketball had changed. Clark wasn't just another promising guard. She was the generational talent whose arrival sparked historic ticket sales, unprecedented television ratings, and global attention that the sport had never fully experienced before. But as the league embraced this momentum, Wilson reacted with a bitterness that grew louder with every Clark milestone, creating a tension that USA Basketball could no longer overlook. The first cracks began to show when Clark secured her massive 8-year $28 million Nike deal, a contract that instantly placed her among the highest-earning female athletes in the world. Instead of celebrating a fellow star or recognizing the momentum this brought to the league, Wilson's reaction became a spectacle of insecurity. Her attempt to parody Clark's endorsement win with the now infamous "I have a shoe too" post turned into an industry-wide embarrassment. Marketing analysts studied the rollout and concluded it was the most misguided attempt at brand relevance they had ever seen from a professional athlete. Teammates reportedly cringed. Sponsors shook their heads. The public saw through the desperation. And yet, that was only the beginning of the spiral. As Clark continued selling out arenas in every city she stepped foot in, Wilson's frustration transitioned into open hostility. She publicly questioned whether Clark's fans were even real basketball supporters or just riding a wave of hype. She insinuated that the player responsible for record-breaking attendance, merchandise sales, and broadcast ratings was somehow harming the sport rather than elevating it. The audacity of attacking the one athlete who brought more attention, money, and growth to the league than anyone in its history was a move that baffled insiders. Wilson's critics argued that her words weren't rooted in logic. They were rooted in fear, jealousy, and an unwillingness to accept that someone younger, more marketable, and undeniably more influential had surpassed her. Meanwhile, USA Basketball was drafting its blueprint for the future. The 2025 Elite Camp roster made their direction unmistakably clear. Clark sat at the center of their plans, surrounded by rising forces like Aaliyah Boston and Paige Buckers. The coaching staff redesigned their offensive schemes specifically to maximize Clark's explosive skill set, emphasizing pace, deep-range shooting, quick transitions, and creative playmaking. They weren't simply forming another Olympic squad. They were constructing a decade-long dynasty, and Clark was the foundation holding it all together. Every decision, every tactical adjustment, every marketing strategy pointed to one truth. She wasn't just a player. She was the program. So when Wilson attempted to leverage her veteran status to demand a guaranteed Team USA roster spot, the decision-makers had already reached their conclusion. The data was clear. The chemistry risks were too high. The future was too valuable to jeopardize. Internal evaluations expressed concerns that pairing Clark and Wilson would create unnecessary tension, instability, and distractions at a pivotal moment in the program's long-term development. For USA Basketball, this wasn't merely about skill. It was about character, leadership, and the integrity of a system built for global dominance. And with that, Wilson was out. The consequences of her choices soon extended far beyond the Olympic team. As Clark's reputation soared to new heights, Wilson's began to crumble in tangible financial ways. While Clark commanded six-figure speaking fees and booked out corporate engagements instantly, Wilson struggled to maintain demand. Event organizers admitted privately that they deliberately avoided booking Wilson due to her negative public image and ongoing hostility toward Clark. Major brands refused to associate themselves with the toxicity surrounding her outbursts. What she once assumed was unshakable star power disappeared almost overnight as sponsors aligned themselves with positivity and growth rather than bitterness and rivalry. What makes Wilson's situation even more striking is how differently she handled adversity compared to Clark. While Clark was recovering from injury in early 2025, she poured her energy into preparation, studying film, mentoring younger players, training for Team USA responsibilities. Her maturity became a hallmark of her leadership. Meanwhile, Wilson responded to her exclusion with more complaints, cryptic online messages, and attempts to frame herself as a victim of disrespect. The gap between these two mindsets revealed itself more clearly than any stat sheet ever could. Her frustration reached a boiling point when she attempted to discredit Clark's Time magazine Athlete of the Year recognition. She tried to imply it was awarded for reasons unrelated to merit, as though Clark's impact on viewership, sales, youth participation, and international engagement weren't the most compelling achievements the sport had ever seen. This moment exposed the depth of Wilson's insecurity. It wasn't just competitiveness. It was resentment toward the evolution of the game itself. Across the league, players and coaches took notice. None publicly celebrated Wilson's removal from Team USA, but the silence was telling. Those who once stood beside her offered no defense. No public statements. No pushback against USA basketball. Their quiet acceptance said what their words didn't. Many believed it was the right call, even if they wouldn't dare say so out loud. Wilson's campaign of bitterness had burned too many bridges. The program was choosing unity, vision, and growth instead of revisiting a past that no longer fit into its future. As for Clark, the world anticipates her return with unprecedented excitement. Ticket pre-sales for Team USA exhibitions featuring her are already smashing records. International broadcasters are bidding at historic levels for the 2026 World Cup, all centered around her name. Her influence transcends borders and demographics in a way rarely seen in any sport. Observers believe she will be to women's basketball what Michael Jordan was to the 1992 Dream Team, a catalyst who transforms not just a roster, but the global identity of the game itself. And while Wilson watches these developments from afar, the lesson becomes clearer with every passing day. Talent can carry a player far, but character determines how long they stay at the top. The sport made its choice. The future of Team USA has a new face. The momentum is unstoppable. And the player who once tried to tear that future down has found herself left behind by the very game she sought to control. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the unfolding drama in women's basketball, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe for more powerful breakdowns just like this one. What do you think?